Agefield High, Rock the School, is about the closest I think we're ever gonna get to playing something that feels like it's been designed by aliens.
Sammy, do you... Oh, I'm sorry, Sam. Are you having your, happy time?
Developed by Refugium Games, known for their work on the similarly half-assed Grey Hill incident, it's an incredibly odd, so-called open-world experience that claims to be a throwback to the raunchy teen comedies of the early 2000s.
I like it.
Which, yeah, like, on some level it might be, but in reality it's really just a blatant rip-off of Rockstar's old 2006 title, Bully.
Welcome to class, boys and girls.
I know it, you know it, and to be honest, the devs probably know it too. I mean, all the elements are there. You're playing as a young kid coming from a dysfunctional family who's just moved to a new town and is starting at a new school with no friends, having to build up his reputation as you fight back against other cliques and earn your place. You got different groups like the jocks, the cheerleaders, and the nerds, and then what's essentially prefects that patrol the school to make sure you don't start trouble. You attend classes like music and English, you can ride bikes around town, and complete side missions and odd jobs. There's a mission later on involving a teacher getting all pervy around the female students, and then another mission where you're sneaking around taking photos of someone. Even the radar with this health and stamina system is near identical. So it's all sounding like it should have been a recipe for success, right? You know, just copy and paste what Rockstar did 20 years ago. What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong?
Well, it turns out everything.
You can't be serious.
And they may have tried to emulate so much of what Bully did all those years ago, but they buggered up pretty much every single aspect, dropping something that's easily going to be one of the contenders for the worst game to come out in 2026. With it currently sitting on mostly negative on Steam.
That's super fucked up.
Where about the only surprising thing there is how it's somehow not already overwhelming.
Samuel Tatum, do you know how disrespectful this is?
Either way though, let's talk about it, shall we?
So you want to ask Laura on a date?
Yeah, I've been wanting to ask her for the last couple years, actually.
Right, so the gist is you're playing as a kid named Sam, who's just moved to the town of Agefield, waking up in the morning for his first day of school, dropped off by his mum, showing off the first of many truly awful cinematics, all of which have appalling voice acting and lip syncing.
Please, don't make any trouble on your first day, okay?
What path?
Sam soon arrives at school where the students somehow look both 15 and 40 at the same time. Yeah, maybe that's why it's called Agefield. Soon getting to the first class of the day with English, with a pretty basic spelling test that I still somehow managed to flub on a few questions. Also meeting some of your classmates with this douchebag jock character named Seth who kinda looks like Wolverine with AIDS.
Looks like a loser.
Along with the principal, Mr. Carpenter, who looks like he's borrowed that suit off Vince McMahon.
You take me to him! Take me to the son of a bitch!
All of which is a great example of the kind of bizarre writing you can expect about a story, where it's kind of like all these human interactions have been written by an alien whose only knowledge of how people talk to each other is from watching Tommy Wiseau's The Room.
Shut up, Ashley. Just because you don't have anything in your mouth right now doesn't mean you gotta talk, skank.
Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
With there being more than enough content to fill an entire video alone, just showcasing how odd some of these cutscenes are.
Should we go to my house?
Yeah?
Anyway, after this class, you're given the obligatory tour around the school by a guy named Kale, who quickly becomes Sam's buddy and may or may not turn out to be a villain later on. Where I kind of noticed too, just how little you can actually do around the school. I mean, in Bully, for instance, you could lockpick into lockers, you could mess with the other students, you could make out with girls, and do all these random little side activities for other kids. Here though, about all you can do is kick lockers to get some stuff inside. But as soon as you do this, like, every single prefect or teacher in the tri-state area starts coming after you, with the rewards just not being worth the risk, especially considering how they don't ever seem to stop chasing you. After following Cal around for a bit, I get into a fight with Seth, which is kind of like that scene in the first Spider-Man movie when Peter fights Flash. Only, you know, if that scene was total dog shit.
What do you want, pencil dick?
I want to beat your ass.
Because this showcases the game's atrocious melee combat. And I mean, I could describe this using a whole bunch of four-letter words, but do I really need to? I mean, just look at it. Like, it's genuinely one of the worst melee combat systems I've ever experienced, where despite having a punch, kick, push, and a block move, it's all useless, considering you've got about as much reach as a midget amputee. I mean, the original melee combat back in Bully wasn't amazing, but if nothing else, it was at least serviceable. This stuff, on the other hand, makes it look like Devil May Cry 3.
Why don't you look for some dinner while you're at it?
Anyway, before the fight goes on for too long, Vince McMahon shows up and he ends it.
Seth, what the hell are you doing?
And then I meet this other kid named Axel, who looks like he spends way too much time listening to Panic at the Disco, where they both divulge this grand plan to become kings of the school before the year is up.
You're kidding, right?
With the first part of the plan requiring Sam to go off and steal a pair of panties that belongs to Seth's girlfriend, Ashley. Yeah, she's that girl from earlier who looks like she brushes her teeth with a meth pipe. And yeah, not even half an hour into the game, and we're going there.
Not to mention, it's hella funny.
And not even at school either. You have to flat out sneak into her bedroom while she's out of the house, dodging her mum, who's doing laps around the place at random while talking to herself in the mirror.
You're young and gorgeous, and all of Ashley's boyfriends were secretly also into you.
Yeah, probably still would.
What the hell was that all about?
After I've got these things, I get out of the house, only to be caught by one of Seth's buddies, and have to engage yet again with the worst melee combat system ever designed by another human being. God, that sucks. But at least now I got a really awkward looking PNG of a woman's underwear pinned above my bed, so yeah. Next up, the guys have all got this bright idea to start doing jobs around town to earn some money.
Get the fuck out of here, kid.
Where Sam meets another guy who's very clearly based off Clint Eastwood, who lets him mow his lawn. Sounds familiar. Which, to my utter shock, is another mechanic that controls like absolute shit. I mean, I think it's quite honestly easier to mow a lawn more accurately in real life. And why is it only this small patch on the entire lawn that needs mowing? Like, what is going on here? Did they even bother doing QA on any of this stuff? Don't answer that. Eventually, Clint shows up to inspect my work, offering us some shitty cassette tape instead of cash. Then shortly after this, Sam catches wind of a jock stealing some poor lady's handbag.
What the hell, man?
Help me!
So he takes off after the bloke in what ends up being one of the most unexciting chase sequences ever, which is another recurring theme in Agefield of these chase sequences where you slowly catch up to someone while they run away. Soon returning the handbag to the woman who's its rightful owner, who looks like a burn victim from the neck down.
You're such a gentleman.
But she does give us $35 dues as a reward, so yeah, that's something.
It's the least I can do.
At this point, it goes from day to night faster than it did in The Dark Knight Rises when Bane robs the Gotham Stock Exchange. So I figure I'll call it a day and head home. All to find this girl walking around the house who, I guess, is Sam's sister? What the fuck is she doing? I even go and check out her room, which looks like the den of a serial killer. I mean, what's with all the Polaroid photos on the walls? Are these like her previous victims? In fact, that'd actually make a pretty interesting side plot if your sister was a serial killer. But instead, she's just some cliche gold-digging bitch that just wants to bang anyone with a bank account.
Is it stick shift? Because I hear sticks are hard to ride.
Either way, though, that's it for the first day. A day filled with failing basic English, stealing someone's underpants, and getting exploited by a senior citizen.
What the hell, man?
Next day back at school, I've got geography class with this lady who looks like she self-medicates.
Our world is a fun place to explore.
And another class which really makes me feel dumb as hell, considering I have no idea what half of these countries even are.
Okay, not bad.
After geography, I've then got the German class, which makes me feel even more stupid, because this one quite literally depends on how well you can speak German to actually get a good grade. And I can speak German about as well as I can make baked Alaska. I mean, I can get by with some of them given how certain German words sound similar to English, but a lot of this is just guesswork.
You are der Schnitt.
Wait, what did he call me?
Take me to him! Come on! Go, 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 go!
And this really kind of proves what I was saying earlier in how this game takes what Bully did and somehow finds a way to miss the point and just make it worse. Like in Bully, the different classes you took were just a series of mini-games based loosely off the subjects you were studying. In our class, for instance, you just had to guide a pencil around the canvas with a controller. You didn't need to have studied the Impressionists or understand the influence of vorticism to get by. Or like in science class, you didn't need to memorize the entire periodic fucking table. The music class here seems to be the only one they kinda got the right idea with, given that it's the same concept as it was in Bully where it's all timed inputs. Though they still somehow found a way to screw that up, because the prompts aren't even on the beat and just seem to be at near random. Oh yeah, and imagine being the guy who composed this music and put it out there in stock asset library land, only for it to be used in a game like Agefield.
You messed with the wrong one.
It's also worth mentioning that you don't even really have to go to class here. At least in the sense that it's not really unlocking anything, outside of just earning you some pretty piss-sweet cash bonuses.
Not bad, not bad.
And again, like comparing it to Bully, you were not only encouraged to beat all the classes due to it giving you extra content, but you almost kinda had to. Simply because you were on campus almost the entire time, and if you skipped a class, there was the very high likelihood of getting into trouble. Here though, there's barely anyone who comes after you, and half the time the cops don't even seem to give a shit.
Can't pay my... Damn it, kid!
Hey!
Which means that it's really dependent on the missions and the side content to keep you engaged. Like this one here, tracking down a thief who stole a bike from the aptly named Michael's Bike Shop. Yeah, run by a guy named Mike who looks like a white Will Smith. Involving this enthralling sequence where you crouch walk behind Seth for like 10 minutes, while he slowly walks through town and acts like an arsehole to everyone he interacts with. Followed then by some Elder Scrolls Oblivion tier dialogue as you escape with the bike in broad daylight.
Hey, he's stealing the bike!
The loose plot at this point is about Sam trying to get in the good books with one of the girls from his English class named Chloe, with Mike giving him the incredibly terrible advice that simply doing anything to grab her attention is somehow a good thing.
The main thing is that you do something that demands attention.
Shut up!
You also do unlock a bike at this point, giving you access to a side mission delivering food for the aptly named Food Man. No, seriously, that's what he's called.
Come on, my friend. You want to deliver food? Then this is the right place for you.
And it's like, did the devs just leave that in as a placeholder before they came up with an actual name or something and then forget to update it?
Okay, I could do it.
Either way, though, this is like a repeatable minigame where you ride around town dropping off styrofoam containers at people's front doors. And making me realize how this game often has, like, no background music at all. With your measly reward for all of this being a mere $25. Aside from that, there's also the town barber, which gives you the option of looking like Christopher Walken from Deer Hunter, or like someone who shoved their dick into an electrical socket. Yeah, I'll go with the socket dick. Actually, you know what? I think he looks more like Marv in Home Alone 2. Next door to that is also the police station, where I walk right on in and steal the cop's nightstick, and even eat his apple pie right out from in front of him while he does nothing.
Look at that degenerate!
Making a mental note to use that nightstick later on to commit full-on assault. I can even head to the convenience store and buy the latest titty mag, with this apparently being the hottest goth of 2002. Really? Rough year. The convenience store also sells eggs and firecrackers, and check out the icon art for both of these. It looks like it was made in MS Paint. Oh yeah, firecrackers and eggs, which do bugger all, by the way. From here on in, though, there's really not much else you can do apart from just focusing on those main missions, which is always comprised of like 1 or 2 gameplay styles just repeated over and over, combined of course with that same standard of cutscene quality we've since come to expect. And I don't want to go through like every single mission, but I will give you an example of a couple of them. Like this one here where you're trying to get past Chloe's dad to get her on the phone and ask her out on a date. Where trying to get the right responses is quite literally just guesswork and trial and error, with every time you pick the wrong choice having you start back from the beginning.
Hey girl, it's Sam.
What?
What the fuck did I do wrong?
Which then ends in another music minigame where you're trying to win her over by playing rock music, and I use that term lightly, out front of her house, where you have to hit every single note or else you fail the mission. before the dad then comes out after that and chases after Sam like he's a T-1000 going after John Connor. And I know I'm supposed to outrun the guy, but not before I show him this fully sick 360. Yeah, check this shit out, Mr. Rogers, you fuck. You can even run into him immediately after you get away, and it's like he completely forgets you even existed. The mission then finally comes to an end with some assault with a deadly weapon, as I beat the crap out of a couple of jocks bullying Chloe's friend with my nightstick. And then the whole thing's done, and I've won over a 17-year-old girl who looks like Queen Sindel on an off day. Yippee.
Good luck, guys!
One of the weirder missions is one where you all go out to the countryside with the girls, sneaking into some creepy house that they very clearly set up as being both occupied and maybe haunted. All for nothing to even happen. Just ending in a sequence where you have to sneak up behind Kale and try to scare him. And yes, this is an actual cinematic in this game.
Booyah! Whoa! Holy...
With your reward for all of this being a creepy mask you can wear which seems to do literally nothing. And it's just like content for the sake of content without there really being any purpose or consequences to any of it. One mission later on, for instance, has Sam, Kale and Axel sneaking into Seth's party to mess it up like it's the ending of Superbad or something. And a party which honestly seems to be going pretty well. You got people enjoying themselves, doing some kind of ritualistic tribal dance.
Whoops and rings. I have it all.
And two people upstairs in the bedroom that are very clearly getting it on.
We're talking about sex, right?
Right.
So it seems like a fun old time, or at least it was, until Sam turns up and spikes everyone's drinks, and then calls both the cops and Seth's parents.
What the hell is he thinking? I'm so sorry. We're on our way.
Ending with everyone vomiting their brains out as the cops show up. So yeah, like I could probably spend an entire video just going over all the bizarre and inane content the story's got. All of which really makes you question the stability of the person who came up with it.
And believe it or not, the bully ended up banging the kid's girlfriend's sister, and finally his mom.
But the question is again, like, do I really need to?
Oh god, no. Mom, no.
You know what I can do though? I can at least show off some of the bugs and glitches that this thing has, which it absolutely has no shortage of. Like how every time you crash your bike, for instance, it's like the camera has some kind of existential crisis. And I've lost count of the amount of times that I have crashed the bike despite not actually being anywhere near the object that I've apparently hit. Sometimes during music class, the music doesn't play, you know, kind of defeating the purpose. If you stand on the school stairs at just the right angle, the bottom floor turns into the back rooms. And during one fight scene, which was also supposed to be a pivotal story moment, this happened.
I just want to know what it feels like. Is it really like warm apple pie?
What in the fuck? Along with there just being a multitude of other examples of the game regularly shitting its pants. One thing I noticed too is how even on the weekends when there's no school or class, Sam is still going to be wearing his school backpack. Can we also talk as well about how the entire game looks like it's been created entirely from stock assets? Like how everyone in town has the exact same above ground pool. And how there's not even the slightest sense of the devs trying to make NPC behavior look even remotely believable. How about how they didn't even bother adding in any kind of swimming animations, where if you even try to go into the few bodies of water around the town, it just instantly teleports you back to land. And maybe it's been done ironically, but overall the environments really do look like something out of an old PS2 game. You know what I find most baffling though, is how so many of the doors here open inwards and not outwards. Kinda harken back to what I said before, how the whole thing seems like it was designed by aliens. And again, like even after like 8 hours of playtime, I'm still struggling to see how this thing is supposed to be a throwback to those raunchy teen comedies of the early 2000s. Teen comedies that I can tell you I absolutely grew up watching.
Hey kid, how old are you?
I'm 21.
And in fact, I can still remember how pissed off my mum was when she'd heard that I went and saw American Pie, especially after she found out what the plot was about.
Did I miss anything?
And having said that, like, that's one of the only things that this game seems to be referencing. In the couple of dozen apple pies you can find and eat across the map.
We'll just tell your mother that we ate it all.
Which is one of the many pointless collectibles the game has. Along with it also weirdly often referencing Frank Drebin.
My name is, Drebin. Officer Drebin.
My name is Sergeant Frank Drebin, Detective Lieutenant Police Squad.
But I think my biggest takeaway from playing Agefield is really how much it makes you realize just how talented Rockstar Games were back in the day when they made Bully. I mean, with Agefield, like, these developers have had 2 decades worth of upgrades, evolution, and progression when it comes to game-making tools. You know, like utterly limitless ways in which they could have created anything they wanted, with vast amounts of resources and technological power at their fingertips. And yet they ended up with this. Rockstar Games, on the other hand, built Bully in a cave with a box of scraps, and it ended up like this.
I could do so much better, you know?
Just comes back to what I've said time and time again now, in how no amount of technology can replace creativity, artistry, and actual talent.
Look at the camera! Hey.
I will give them one thing though, and that the price for this is at least semi-decent, being only $40 redos in Kangaroo Land, which is, you know, roughly half price for a full game. But then again, you could also go out and spend $40 to get a hobo with hepatitis to spit in your face. So yeah, I don't know if that's really the best indicator of value. Either way though, Agefield High, Rock the School, is absolutely worthy of all the negativity that it's getting. It does occasionally delve into the so bad that it's good territory, but most of the time, this thing sits squarely in the so bad that it's bad category. But hey, like, if you ever wanted to play a shitty Unreal Engine 5 asset flip, where your dream girl looks like a 45-year-old woman that's got the body of a 15-year-old male gymnast, well, then you're in luck.
Fucking perverts!